zones and what they call hotspot policing.
Several people were arrested on drug charges. It was the end of an operation that had been in the works for...
Picture this: an unassuming house in South Houston. Yet inside lies a fortified cartel stronghold with 410-pound steel doors, 62 surveillance cameras, a command bunker streaming live feeds to Mexico, 780 pounds of drugs, and $2.3 million in cash. In the dead of night, federal agents launch a coordinated raid, engaging in intense gunfire, but capturing 8 suspects unharmed. No, this isn't Hollywood. It's the real-life kill shot operation ordered by Trump, taking down the Sinaloa-CJNG alliance that had been quietly building an underground empire right on American soil. Are you prepared to uncover the secret map and expansion plan that left Washington stunned? Watch now. Agents have seized $40 million worth of drugs from the Sinaloa-CJNG alliance in South Houston as part of President Trump's crackdown operation. Hotels are now officially within the Pentagon's crosshairs. This is no longer just about the wall. Trump has ordered a decisive response. Agents recovered hundreds of pounds of drugs, dozens of weapons, and a fortified command center hidden behind the facade of an ordinary house. 3 suspects were arrested tonight, with federal officials calling this one of the most significant strikes against Mexico's most violent cartel network. But investigators warn that this is more than just a drug bust. It has uncovered a secret expansion plan that could change everything. From the outside, the 3-story house on Calhoun Street seemed innocuous, just another quiet residence in South Houston. But when federal agents raided it, everything changed. What they uncovered defied expectations. 780 pounds of drugs, 14 firearms, 27 encryption devices, and over $2.3 million in cash were hidden behind false walls. It was a fully operational cartel stronghold responsible for moving more than $42 million worth of drugs across 14 states. What stunned investigators wasn't just the sheer volume, but the level of sophistication. A 410-pound front door reinforced with double steel plates. Interior walls rebuilt with military-grade bracing. 62 cameras linked to a bunker-style basement packed with encrypted radios, surveillance monitors, and routers streaming live footage straight to Mexico. Every window was rigged with motion alarms. Even the ventilation ducts were wired with the detectors. One agent put it bluntly: this wasn't a stash house, it was a combat position. And the deeper they dug, the more the truth became undeniable. The Sinaloa-CJNG alliance wasn't just testing the waters in Houston, they were carving out territory, infiltrating American neighborhoods with the precision of a shadow army. The Houston fortress was merely the nerve center of a far-reaching operation. In just 4 months, federal analysts uncovered a disturbing pattern stretching well beyond Texas. An underground logistics network powering cartel smuggling routes through 10 U.S. states. What started as a single surveillance lead has evolved into a comprehensive map of interstate transport routes controlled by the Sinaloa-CJNG alliance, moving drugs north and weapons south with the precision of military supply chains. Investigators uncovered that the South Houston cell managed 10 satellite stash points, each cleverly hidden as ordinary rental homes across Arkansas, Tennessee, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. These were no mere warehouses, they were micro-hubs meticulously designed to break down large shipments into smaller loads before funneling them to distribution centers in Denver, Chicago, Kansas City, and St. Louis. As the intelligence deepened, the scope of the operation grew even more chilling. Agents intercepted encrypted messages routing through off-grid devices and hidden servers with traffic flowing to handlers in Culiacan and Jalisco. Financial tracking revealed nearly $18 million moving quietly through shell companies in Mexico and small Texas businesses acting as fronts for logistics, transport, and construction. The operation ran like a multinational corporation, except every shipment was feeding the fentanyl crisis, devastating American communities. A senior DEA analyst didn't mince words. They're not hiding, they're scaling up. The Sinaloa-CJNG alliance wasn't just smuggling, they were building a network, strengthening their infrastructure to expand their grip. Roads, drop points, payment channels, feeder houses, every element meticulously designed to extend their influence across the South and Midwest. For the first time, federal agencies were able to see the full scope of the operation. It was a silent expansion, spreading like roots beneath the nation's surface. And with that clarity came an urgent question. How do you dismantle a system so deeply entrenched before it erupts into open violence? If this feels like it's escalating quickly, it was about to get worse. At 3:47 a.m., the situation took a sharp turn. Surveillance drones picked up cartel lookouts moving to new positions. Thermal signatures revealed activity inside all 6 target houses and 2 cartel vehicles. A black SUV, reinforced with makeshift armor, patrolled between the sites like a mobile command post. This wasn't just a hideout crew, it was a battalion preparing for action. Federal command was updated in real time. The cartel was armed with rifles and tactical gear, signaling coordinated resistance. At 4:03 a.m., the first raid team moved in on Target 3. From the outside, it appeared to be an abandoned duplex, but as the team stacked up at the door, cartel gunfire erupted. Controlled bursts from AR-15-style rifles, illegally modified, fired low to pin agents behind their shield line. Muzzle flashes lit up the darkness. One agent later described it as stepping into a steel storm. Inside, the cartel gunmen moved with military precision. 2 took position at the staircase, short-barreled carbines braced behind sandbags. Another group retreated to the basement, hauling duffel bags packed with cash, encrypted tablets, and suppressed pistols. In the kitchen, a lookout streamed the firefight live through a helmet camera, feeding real-time footage to handlers in Mexico. But the United States wasn't caught off guard. They arrived with overwhelming force. FBI SWAT advanced with ballistic shields and 5.56 tactical rifles, working in sync with DEA breach teams and armored entry tools. Homeland Security operators provided overwatch, using night vision to track the gunmen through the smoke and debris. On the perimeter, ATF deployed armored rescue vehicles blocking escape routes while local units sealed off the street. The battle was fierce as agents breached the living room. Cartel gunmen moved in pairs, one firing, the other reloading, trying to slow the federal advance. Dust filled the air, alarms blared, interior floodlights strobing, casting every shadow into motion. The staircase was the toughest point to break, a narrow choke point where gunmen unleashed full magazines in controlled bursts. But as the federal teams synchronized their assault, everything changed. FBI SWAT punched through the stairs while DEA operators flanked from the rear wall. Homeland Security executed a blackout, cutting power to the entire block, disabling cameras and motion sensors. In under 90 seconds, the bunker was isolated, surrounded, overwhelmed, and blinded. The last 2 gunmen dropped their weapons. All 8 suspects were taken alive, with no agents injured. A field commander reflected afterward, "They fought hard. We fought with everything the nation brought." As the sun rose over Houston, similar reports came in from 5 other targets. The cartel had shown firepower. America had shown dominance. If you feel like things are escalating quickly, comment "Stop them" to jump to the moment agents realized the cartel was gearing up for a fight. When the gunfire ceased, the real war began. Not with weapons, but with information. As agents moved through the South Houston fortress room by room, what they uncovered went far beyond drugs and guns. It revealed the political reach, financial power, and long-term ambitions of the cartel alliance, deeply embedded in American infrastructure, far deeper than anyone in Washington had ever publicly acknowledged. Inside the bunker, agents opened 34 locked steel boxes, each one a vital artery in the organization's command structure. Ledgers detailed nearly $120 million in annual revenue flowing directly through the Houston corridor. Hard drives held encrypted communications with mid-level coordinators in Culiacan, Zapopan, and Sonora. A tablet hidden behind a magnetic false panel contained files linking the Houston network to political contacts in 3 U.S. states. Do you really think an ordinary house in your neighborhood couldn't be hiding a cartel fortress with 780 pounds of drugs, 62 cameras, and a command bunker streaming live to Mexico? Or do you still believe that only happens somewhere else? Not senators or governors, but the very people who keep the system running, inspectors, planning clerks, contract coordinators, were the leverage points cartel planners had strategically targeted to manipulate American bureaucracy to their advantage. The most chilling discovery wasn't the money, it was the blueprint. Federal analysts uncovered digital plans outlining a 2-year expansion strategy. 8 fortified houses were scheduled for construction, 5 in Texas, and 3 in the areas around Memphis and Little Rock. Each site was mapped out in 3 phases: acquisition, fortification, activation, with diagrams that looked more like forward military operating bases than criminal stash houses. Even more disturbing, a folder contained draft rezoning applications, evidence that the cartel had already begun infiltrating administrative channels to quietly secure building permits. As the intelligence report hit Washington at 7:40 a.m., the response was swift. The Attorney General immediately convened an emergency call with Justice Department leadership, calling the findings a territorial expansion effort by a foreign terrorist organization on American soil. Within an hour, the Secretary of Homeland Security issued a public statement confirming what federal officials had long suspected. The South Houston hub was not a local cell. It was one of 6 regional command nodes operating within the United States. At the White House, senior advisors pushed for a unified response, warning that the operation's collapse had exposed a harsh truth the nation had been reluctant to confront. The cartel wasn't just smuggling, they were positioning territory, logistics, influence, and infrastructure. Later that morning, the Texas governor held a joint press conference with federal officials. His words were short but resolute. "We're not dealing with street criminals. We're dealing with a foreign network operating with military discipline and political intent. Texas will respond in kind." Behind closed doors, members of Congress demanded deeper intelligence. Some called for expanded anti-cartel designations, arguing that the Sinaloa-CJNG alliance had crossed the line from criminal enterprise to semi-military threat. One senator put it bluntly, "If foreign actors are building fortified command posts in our neighborhoods, this is no longer law enforcement. This is national security." As the political shockwave rippled through Washington, agents continued cataloging evidence. They uncovered efforts to influence planning boards, property purchases designed to hide cartel ownership, and donation flows channeled through shell companies into small city campaigns. While it wasn't enough to charge any elected officials, it was clear the cartel was probing for weaknesses. By dusk, one fact remained indisputable. The Houston fortress wasn't just a drug hub. It was a foothold, an anchor point for a foreign network testing how far it could penetrate American soil, and the message from federal leadership was unmistakable. The cartel had plans for America. Now America had plans for them. By the time the South Houston Command Center was taken down, federal agencies were already acting on intelligence gathered from the seized tablets and lockboxes. What emerged was a rapid response blueprint, not just to dismantle one network, but to disrupt the cartel's expansion across the American South. Within hours, Washington authorized the most aggressive multi-state tracking operation in recent history. Data from the Houston bunker identified 2 more fortified houses in Texas, one in the Dallas area, one near San Antonio, along with 3 activation sites in Tennessee and Arkansas. each location disguised behind shell homeowners, short-term leases, and cash renovations. But one detail stood out. All 5 sites were slated for Phase 2 within 90 days, meaning armories, command rooms, and reinforced walls were either under construction or already in place. Federal leadership didn't wait. Inside the FBI's Crisis Coordination Center, analysts fused satellite sweeps, financial tracking, and intercepted encrypted communications. DEA mapped courier routes feeding the Memphis corridor. ATF assessed weapons movements tied to straw buyers in Oklahoma and Louisiana. And Homeland Security deployed mobile tactical teams to seal known border crossings used to funnel cartel commanders north. By late afternoon, Operation Iron Meridian, the official name for the counteroffensive, was fully underway. In the Dallas area, tactical officers zeroed in on a stash disguised as a building materials distributor. Inside, they uncovered racks of rifle parts, ballistic plates, encrypted radios, and more than 200 pounds of chemical precursors intended for temporary pill labs. The building was equipped with motion-triggered floodlights and fire-resistant walls designed to slow federal entry. Agents also seized 3 SUVs in the early stages of armor modification, confirming cartel plans to build mobile units similar to those used in Mexico. San Antonio presented a different scenario. The target house wasn't yet fortified, but its basement was filled with voter registration lists, property records, and city planning documents. The cartel wasn't just preparing bunkers, they were preparing leverage. Analysts believe the documents found in San Antonio reflect efforts to predict political obstacles, identifying who could be influenced, who couldn't, and which local systems were vulnerable to external pressure. Meanwhile, in Tennessee, Homeland Security intercepted a cartel runner convoy carrying cash and encryption equipment headed for Nashville. The pursuit ended without gunfire, but the message was unmistakable. The cartel had attempted to relocate command structures, and the federal government caught them mid-move. By nightfall, senior Washington officials issued a joint statement declaring the CJNG Sinaloa regional network to be systemically damaged and operationally degraded. What followed was the United States making its intent unmistakably clear to dismantle that network. Every house, every corridor, every foothold until nothing remained. In the end, this operation served as a stark reminder that while cartels may adapt, America's defenders adapt faster. The fortress in Houston revealed just how far a criminal network would go, but it also showcased how much stronger federal agencies are when they operate in unison. FBI, DEA, DHS, and local partners stopped the threat long before it reached our streets. That's the lesson. Vigilance wins, and courage on the front lines matters. If you stand with the men and women protecting this nation, hit like, comment, honor, and subscribe to help spread this story to more Americans. The biggest lesson from the Houston Fortress takedown is simple. Everyday vigilance can save an entire nation. An ordinary rental house, a small business, or an innocent-looking rezoning application, any crack can be exploited by cartels to build an underground empire. The FBI, DEA, and DHS succeeded because of linked data, drone technology, and communities reporting the unusual. Every citizen is the first sensor. Suspicious vehicles, large cash deals, odd renovations. Call 911 or the tip line. Vigilance isn't just a slogan, it's the strongest weapon against a silent invasion. The Houston Fortress has fallen, but the war against the Sinaloa-CJNG underground empire rages on. From Texas to Memphis, from fortified bunkers to corridors of power. America has proven, when the FBI, DEA, and DHS stand united, no foothold is safe for foreign enemies. Do you think the cartel will stop or keep quietly building? Comment, keep fighting if you stand with the frontline agents. Stop them if you want Washington to expand Iron Meridian nationwide. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Don't miss the next part.